McIntyre.
In the absence of my colleague, the member for Hamilton East, I had the great privilege of moving on his behalf the second reading of the Hamilton... I beg your pardon? Will you sit down? You should be so lucky. Good heavens.
You're a little deaf.
I'm delighted to take this double act with Mr. Shearer, but you hum it and I'll play it. Absolutely not. No. Mr. Chair, I think I might actually get on. I was saying that I had the great privilege of moving on behalf of the member for Hamilton East the second reading, when he was absent on government business, of this most important Hamilton City Council Parana Park land vesting bill. Now, some members opposite that day were, although indicating their support for the measure, and in fact were very fulsome in their praise for my speech, they even suggested that some of my insights suggested it might be the pinnacle of my career. I nevertheless want to say that sadly for them that isn't the case, and I look forward to impressing them over and over and over again for many years to come during a long and industrious career as the MP for Hamilton West. But today I just want to take a short call during this committee stage to commend once again this measure to the House and the work of my Hamilton colleague David Bennett and our local council, who have already been acknowledged in promoting it. Following my second reading speech, one of my predecessors, who represented Hamilton West nearly 3 decades ago, the Honourable Trevor Mallard, asked me to explain how Parana Park, as it has long been known informally and will now be known officially, got its name. Well, having already spoken in the debate that day, of course, I had no right of reply. But I'm happy to do so now, especially as Miss Fenton has just posed the same question, while other Labour members who have spoken before her have so far spent a fair amount of time unnecessarily prolonging this measure without saying anything remotely relevant about it. So I'm pleased to say that while the matter cannot be resolved with absolute certainty, the best guide we have comes from a submitter to the Select Committee on this bill, Laura Kellaway, who is a Waikato-based architect and heritage consultant. And in her submission, which was available to all members of the committee and therefore Labour members, had they absolutely, Mr. Rockenvoll, had they chosen to go along, they would have known this, pointed out that the most likely derivation of the name Parana comes from combining, as Miss Fenton has just correctly guessed, the surname of George Parr, who donated the land in his will in 1929, and also the first name of a young child, Annie McPherson, who had died a year earlier. It's not from Brazil, Mr. Lees Galloway. You may be, but I'm pleased to say that the name is not. George Parr, Mr. Chair, was an important contributor to 19th and early 20th century Hamilton. Indeed, his entire family, although little is remembered of them now, was certainly very prominent in their day. George and his brother Robert were, by 1901, the general shopkeepers of Hamilton, who had acquired the New Zealand Cooperative Farmers Association, which had been established in 1882, and they acquired it in 1884. Both brothers and their father, who became a mayor of Hamilton, were heavily involved in the early development of Hamilton and its community. Now, the point is that although, as I say, this matter is able to be resolved, it does seem likely, as Ms. Kellaway has pointed out, that Parana Park was named for the Parr that George had in his surname, and from truncating the Anne that Annie McPherson had to form Parana Park. Annie McPherson was the daughter of an early settler who had gifted the memorial bridge that crosses Gibbons Creek to the park. As I said earlier, she died in 1928, and her plaque faces George Parr's on the bridge. So, Mr. Speaker, the fact that the two face each other almost certainly explains the origin of the name. I'm happy to enlighten the House, and also to have been the first person this afternoon to say anything remotely relevant about the bill.
Full